Welcome, foolish mortals.
Welcome back to my cozy little corner of the internet. I'm Charlie the Vampiric Barbie, your host. Long time no see, but on Friday I did go and see Beetlejuice. He was amazing. And I've always said this, but I have such a love-hate relationship with Tim, and I was really looking forward to Beetlejuice because it's my favourite Burton movie. And I thought, God, if he ruins this, I'm going to have to, really embarrassingly vow to never see a Burton movie ever again. But he did not disappoint. So, let's talk about it. I gave the movie an overall 8.5 out of 10, and I am just being really picky because it was great fun and I really, really enjoyed it. And I have to say, this week, for the last few weeks, my independent has been showing loads of Burton films leading up to Beetlejuice. I went to go see Frankenweenie and I saw the original Beetlejuice on screen, so I have been making such a commotion of it and I've been so excited for it. And I can definitely say with confidence that Burton is back. Not that he ever really went away, he just didn't surround himself with the right company. He's back in full swing with his returning collaborators to bring his kooky visions to life in full Technicolor. Beetlejuice relies heavily on returning its vibes to the big screen, seducing us with Easter eggs and returning characters. Consider me tantalised successfully. I was indeed both wowed and enamoured by the big screen revival of Burton's inner workings vividly realised. For the last decade or so, we've seen a glass half full version of Burton. All the ideas and concepts are there, but kind of half soaked with softer, less distinct CGI worlds and watered down colour palettes. This sequel to his 1988 masterpiece hopefully kicks off a new era of Burton with a bang. The opening credits made me shed a tear and I felt like I'd returned home. The return of the Geffen Company credits made me wiggle for joy, and returning names, the usual Burton culprits, costume designer Colleen Atwood, composer Danny Elfman, and production designer and husband to Catherine O'Hara Bow Welch, who hasn't collaborated with Tim since '92 on Batman Return. I have to say, Catherine O'Hara, Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, the stars of the picture, refined in their delivery of dialogue and timing. They breathe life once again into these deeply loved Halloween icons. All the heart's still there, but bringing a breeze of ease and new quirks to the caricatures we hold so closely. Beetlejuice. I can't help it, I'm sorry. It's filmed in 4K, so it loses a lot of its grainy 1980s warmth and lovability. It has a modern day update. Beetlejuice loses some magic. It's not as immersive and world building as the first, but that may change as this film gains some years and rewatches. Because having iPhones and influences in a Burton film feels genuinely dystopian, but not overall too distracting, bringing against my will the film up to date and probably is the norm for most teenagers. I myself was a young teen when I saw the first film, and Jenna Ortega is a sweet addition to the Burton cast family. Many teens welcomed into Burton's world for the first time will, I'm sure, resonate and hold to status Astrid as we once did, and do so with Winona Ryder's Lydia Deetz. Other newcomers Monica Bellucci, Arthur Conti, Willem Dafoe, Justin Theroux fit in well to the cricket aesthetic. Although my biggest flaw with this sequel is it leaves us wanting more from some of its characters. Burton is usually a pro at character building and exploration, giving generous time and dialogue to his weird and wonderful characters throughout his filmography. And of course we know the characters so well in the first film, but it felt like more time was dedicated to the characters' visuals than their screen time. The newcomers, although making a graceful and memorable entrance, their rounding felt a little unfinished. And the new additions were not enough to distract me from missing Barbara and Adam Maitland. As a film that feels inclined towards fan service, I was incredibly disappointed that they did not return as supposedly ghosts don't age, which is a load of rubbish, seeing as they spent so much time of the film focusing on Jeffrey Jones's Charles Dietz. A choice that I actually somewhat kind of agree with. I've seen a lot of controversy online, because of Jeffrey Jones's personal choices, but it feels appropriate to me that they explore Charles's death and Charles in the afterlife. One, because Beetlejuice focuses on Lydia and Delia, and Charles is integral to both of their characters, and he's a main character in the original film. It makes sense, and I loved the way that kind of Burton went about it, obviously not alluding to Jeffrey Jones at all, but more so the character of Charles, rightly so, but I just, to brush over it, it felt appropriate, and the stop motion scenes were amazing. They felt so appropriate and warm and made me kick my feet in glee. They felt memorable and distinct, and not just a punch of nostalgia to remind the audience of Burton's roots. They felt like a genuine burst of creativity and authenticity. Something that we haven't seen from Burton for a really long time. The Soul Train sequences were a lively addition and an expansion of the underworld, as well as all the new and creative faces, deaths and sets we see, all exquisite and not CGI. It feels as if we can see them, touch them, be drawn in by them. There's so much to take in. We're not just seeing, we're believing. An important detail missing from the last decade or so of filmmaking in general. Practical effects can never be outdone. That's just a personal viewpoint of my own, but I think that they bring just a sense of realism, especially to Burton, because his aesthetic is so kind of kooky and crooked and angular and bright and vivid that it lends itself to practical effects and that world of special effects. It really is amazing, and I smiled like a crazy lady the whole way through the film. Elvira, Lydia Deetz, makes triumphant return. The strange and unusual teen makes for a misshapen mother to her daughter Astrid. Winona is such a lovable lead, and she glistens with a gothic glow, returning in this flick to a character she holds so beloved. I loved the flashback between Dolores and Beetlejuice in, I don't know if he was talking in Spanish or Italian, I don't know. It was black and white, obviously it was paying homage to old Hollywood horror and foreign horror. Bloody loved it, thought it was great. I've been really giggling the whole way through, it was brilliant. Another gripe is, yes, I wish we could have seen a lot more Monica Bellucci. She lends herself to the gothic horror, Victorian aesthetic so much. She's so beautiful. And every time we saw her, it was like, where is Beetlejuice? Where is he? And when she came in the church, I was like, yes, she's going to do so. She just did nothing. She did nothing. There's a lot of talk around another sequel. I feel my way about sequels, But if we get another one, I'd love to see more Monica Bellucci, because she is a brilliant actress, and I really wish we would have seen so much more of her. And Willem Dafoe, he was great too. His character was kind of kooky and quotable. Again, it doesn't knock the film down at all. It's just wasted potential. It's not like what we got was bad. It's just I wanted more of what we got. I'm sure many will agree, but the ending scenes in the church is an immediate addition to Tim Burton's iconic moments on screen gallery. It's loaded with Burtonisms, colour, gothic inspired costumes, humour, levitation and miming. It felt bizarre and magical, like we'd finally been set free from being obligated to enjoy our director's plain, clean and predictable Disney ventures. It was so bizarre that it was just amazing. Then a world full of reboots, prequels, sequels to prequels, prequels to sequels, prequels to prequels. Beetlejuice plants its boots firmly as a standout. It's brimming with individuality and key scenes that I think, given time, will gain notoriety, iconic status and age like fine wine. Let me know what you thought of Beetlejuice below. Or Beetlejuice. Sounds awful in a British accent. Beetlejuice. Just sounds so much sexier.